let's jump in. So we're going to go over kind of putting it all together and some tactical things for you guys today. A cadence of how you should be doing your video, all that good stuff. So let me do a share screen. I can find the PowerPoint. There it is. All right, so just kind of like I said, some best practices. What are the tools we need to have? All of that good stuff. So we want to be clear and concise and be intriguing, right? We've talked about figuring out what's your audience and what's your message, and using some scripts around that. So here's some tactical things. So video lengths. And so personal messages, you can go up to 90 seconds that can be text. And that might vary depending if you have an Android or an Apple. Facebook, it's recommended to be a 2-minute video, Twitter 30 seconds, Instagram 60 seconds, and YouTube, you can do 2 to 5, but there is also a whole new formula for YouTube that is not reflective in this material. You guys have heard me talk about this. Those videos are anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes, and there's certain content, right? Sensationalized content. Like, for example, if I'm moving to Phoenix, which side of the street should I buy a house on, right? Because I don't know if I'm coming from somewhere where we don't have intense heat. I don't know that I might not want a backyard that faces west, right? So we could talk more about that. There's a whole formula to that type of YouTube stuff. You guys have heard me talk about it, but 1 to 2 minutes for other types of videos are fine. We've also found even just like streaming stuff, like through some of these things, that longer content is not necessarily a bad thing, that people are tuning into. It used to be get in and be short and sweet to the point, but if you can hook them with good content, they will watch it, right? We'll talk about the hook, like what is a good hook that you can say to grab people's attention. This says 10 seconds is the attention span. I think I had heard recently that Gen Xers, right? Gen Zs, you have about 7 seconds of the attention span. That's pretty crazy, right? Think about how fast that is, that if you don't hook them, they're moving on to the next thing. And I think it's curious. I will pay attention to that for myself, and just see how long I'll watch something before I'm like, yep, I'm bored, I'm moving on, right? And so it's really important to have that good, strong hook. Best days and times to post. So Facebook, any day around 11 a.m. That's a good time because you get the different time zones. But you also want to pay attention to your own Facebook page. There's some days that, if I post something, there's some days where it lands really well, and then other days the time is just off, right? So pay attention to what's good for your own cadence, but 11 a.m. is a good time. Instagram, Monday, Tuesday, and Friday at 11, or Tuesday at 2 p.m. And then Twitter's any Fridays between 7 and 9 a.m. LinkedIn, Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Thursdays between 9 and 10, and Fridays 11 to 12. We've talked about LinkedIn being kind of a sleeper that a lot of us aren't paying attention to. I feel like sometimes I get spammed, which I don't love, but I do have a coaching client that I'm working with that she's LinkedIn's one of her pillars, and she actually has her first lead from it, just from being very intentional with the content that she's pushing out on LinkedIn. Got somebody jumping in, sorry. Okay. The hint here at the bottom, the average attention span for a video consumption is about 60 seconds. So we want to utilize that time wisely, right? Make sure you get your content there. So make it easy for people to engage you further. Anticipate the objections, right? You're going to put content out and some of it's just not going to land. And then you want to be able to convert your audience into advocates. Review your scripts and practice your flow. You can have your scripts, and when you go to turn the camera on, you're going to freeze, and that's okay, right? So that's okay. We just got to keep practicing. I have a client that does a teleprompter. You can buy a teleprompter that can attach to your phone through Bluetooth, and she uses a teleprompter to help her with her videos. So that's something that's an option for you, right? You could also have a whiteboard and just have your bullet points up there that you want to read from too. I was talking to somebody, one of the other coaches with Workman, and he was talking about how video, it's easier to convert leads from video, because once they watch enough of you, right, now they feel like they know you. And so that now it makes it easier for them to want to do business with you versus a cold lead that we're chasing, that doesn't know you. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So, and then we want to adapt to our different audiences as necessary. Because we're going to speak to someone who's a baby boomer differently than we're going to speak to a millennial, right? And so adapt your message to who your audience is. Don't overthink how you look. right? How many of us are like, well, I'll do it when I lose 10 pounds, or I got to get my hair done, or I don't like the sound of my voice. Those are all things that are limited beliefs that hold us back. And I think we just have to look in the mirror and say, how bad do you want it? How bad do you want the success? So just do it. And one tip that I had gotten on from someone is don't watch it. Right. Once you're done recording it, don't watch it, because you will pick it apart and you'll find every reason not to send it out. Now, obviously, if you have mistakes and you're stumbling over your words, that's obviously got to redo it. But, sometimes that first take's the best take, and just run with it. Right. So start and end with a smile. We want to disarm our audience, create your humanize yourself, and then create your personality. Put your personality in there. Be genuine, caring, and show your disposition as a likable person that is trustable, right? That I want to do business with you. Practice self-awareness. So your body language. Make sure your body language looks good. Don't have a weird position where, because you're uncomfortable, you're staying in that weird guarded position. So make sure that you appear to be open and ready to engage. Have good lighting. So you want to face a window, or if you get the ring lights or whatever you want to do to have good lighting, but we want to eliminate shadows. And then your background. So choose a space that's comfortable and positively represents you. I have heard from someone that the blurred background is a trust issue. I don't know if that's true. That's just somebody said that to me, that they had heard that when you're doing video, if your background's blurred, that's what's going on. Are you shady? What's behind you? So making sure, I think, so some of the most popular backgrounds are bookshelves, right? Bookshelves with plants and things like that. Oh, I got a chat here. Yeah, that is one challenge, Mary, is the ring light reflects off your glasses. Yeah. So you just got to adjust it so that it doesn't do that, but still is good lighting for you. You guys, up at the Arrowhead North, there is one of the offices has the lights all set up with the plain background. So you could go in there and record video if you wanted to. And then eliminate distractions. And so avoid flashy jewelry or clothing. Some of you though, like I know a guy named Rick that he's very flashy with his clothes, and it's kind of his thing. And so I think if it's part of your brand and represents you, then that's cool. But you don't want to have, like, especially for ladies, you don't want to have big pieces of jewelry that are clanking around and being a distraction. That will be a distraction to you, and also not have good quality when you're recording your video. So I want to be aware of that, so that somebody is, and I know I'm really picky when I'm watching other instructors, because I just am, right. I can be very judgy in that, and I will hone in on one particular thing that I don't like. And so make sure you're eliminating those types of things so that the audience is paying attention to your message, not the stuff around you. All right, so take note of people that you like. Is there somebody out there crushing it with video? I've shared with you guys the girls that I coach that are doing the YouTube stuff. So go watch them, see what they're doing. Right? Is there something about them that you like, that you'd like to mirror, right? Is it a comedian? Is it an interviewer, an actor, someone on a TED Talk? Someone just in your life that's doing good video. I love sending you guys to watch Steve Cushing's videos, because he's just so natural and just so warm and approachable in his videos. And so that's somebody that I think he's doing a great job. So what qualities do you like? What would you do differently? Is there something you would do different? So anybody have a favorite speaker that you want to come off mute or just throw in the chat? I love seeing Tony Robbins speak. He's like my idol, right? Love him. Who else? Come on, you guys gotta have somebody. We got enough coffee this morning. Kim's shaking her head no. Roberta, what about you?
Like just general speakers?
Well, or anybody. Could be a comedian, could be an actor.
Well, I like Terry Watson. He was at R4. He's been here for the association. I just like his energy. I like his positive attitude.
Mary says Nate. I'm sure he appreciates that, Mary. Scott, you came off mute.
Tony Robbins is one of my favorites. I've been to several of his programs and always enjoy listening to him.
He's superhuman, isn't he?
Yeah, he does a great job.
Both.
There's also another gentleman that works with him that when I did his leadership program.
Was Dean?
No, it's not Dean Garazi or whatever his name is. It's African-American gentleman who is a phenomenal speaker as well. And I can't, off the top of my head, I can't remember his name. I'd have to go back to Facebook.
Yeah.
But
I tuned in and watched a little bit of the Matthew McConaughey thing, and Matthew McConaughey is another one. He's a great storyteller, right?
Yep.
Listening to him speak, he's really good. So,
Yeah.
so the point of this is to find somebody that you like, right? And then figure out how can I be like them? And then what would I do different to have my own personality come out there, right? Yeah, when I saw Tony Robbins before, just if ever you guys are planning to see him, make sure you take a parka, because part of his thing is to keep the room freaking freezing cold, so that I guess there's some psychology to it, but I was miserable. I was so cold. So if you ever go see him, be warned, bring a parka. So create your pre-call ritual, get inspired, right? I have my little things I do before I jump on Zoom with you guys to teach. And so, what is that? Is it affirmations? Is it a song? Is it jumping jacks? I don't care what it is, right? What's your pre-recording activities that are going to get your head in the right spot? And then what makes you happy, right? Talk about that for 30 seconds. Do your gratitudes. If I'm ever in a low vibe, and I've had some low vibes this last couple of weeks, you guys, going through my affirmations, because you can't, if you're in a state of gratitude, you can't be low vibe, right? So rolling off the things you're grateful for, look around the room and just go, right? What is it that what makes you excited? Then recite the purpose or the goal of your video. Who are you speaking to? And then remember that to be the subject, to be the expert on the subject, right? So, and then, share your videos, right? Look around on Zoom and pick somebody that you feel like has a friendly face that you could test and practice with, and start sending some text messages back and forth, and get comfortable with it, because it's going to be uncomfortable in the beginning, but what we say in momentum is there's no growth without discomfort. All right, so your call to action. So this is your getting into the hook, right? We want to avoid sound salesy or sing-songy or even preachy, right? We don't want to come across that way. So, and I sometimes, that's one thing I noticed about Matthew McConaughey, is he can be a little preachy. So that's something that I kind of have to look past with him when I'm listening to him, right? So we want to be genuine. Remember the purpose of who you're trying to serve. So some CTAs. So this is your hook, right? So the call to action. So what do I want this person to do? In any marketing piece that you do, you want to think about as this person's receiving this, what do I want them to do with it? Right. So here, I'm not going to read all these to you. This is in your guys' materials, but here are some call to actions that would work for you. So, tag me next time you're blank, right? So you can read through these. We're going to get a little bit more into the hooks as well. Some other things you can add are freebies, right? So having things that now it's a call to action. So make them go download this, or read it, or go here, right? So that's another way to get people to engage you, is to provide something that's free. The most important element of your CTA is what you do with the information that you gather, right? We talk about this, that it doesn't do us any good. Most of us are good at generating leads, but we're not necessarily great with the follow-up, right? So what am I doing with the information? So you want to put it in your CRM, set yourself some reminders, right? And, make sure that you're following up until that person either buys or tells you to die, right? So save the information, make sure you have good notes, right? And then any kind of further engagement, make sure that you've got reminders for yourself to do that, because we're all busy. Things happen, life happens. And it kind of, those things that happen in life can throw us off and get us off our game when it comes to our follow-up. So we want to continue the conversation and continue building rapport with your audience that will make a lasting impression.
Hey, Sarah, can I comment on something?
Absolutely.
On video, you were talking about call to action. So you could create a landing page in KV Core that has a hashtag, and the hashtag triggers a specific smart plan that you've created that's wrapped around your videos. So it's all kind of this, I don't know, I'm just kind of thinking out loud, but
sure,
would all be automatic.
Yeah, that's a great idea, using the KV Core. So Kim's kind of a whiz with the KV Core. So some other great content ideas, and again, I'm not going to read all these to you guys. They're in your materials, but who am I? What do I do? Introduce yourself and your brand and start building a foundation. And then why are you doing this? Why? What am I passionate about? Right. And that passion comes through, and people want to work with people who are passionate about their jobs. Right. So again, not going to read all these to you guys, but here's some great examples of some things that you can use for content. So let's get into some tools. Okay. So you and your phone. Did y'all think I was going to give you some brilliant idea of an expensive device? We don't need anything more than your phone. And if you've got that cool new Apple phone, you get the best, probably better camera technology than going out and buying an expensive camera. All right. So don't get hung up with that, I guess is where I'm going. You all have a phone. Y'all can just turn on the video and start recording. Okay. Brand your purpose, your skill, your confidence, and your tactics, and any smartphone will record. Right. So let's not get hung up on, well, I need more money to go buy something, or I don't have a studio, or whatever the excuses are. You don't have to have that. All right, so basic messages. So you guys have PhotoFi as a Remax agent. It's like $52 a year. I love PhotoFi. It's pretty cool. There's some video templates in there already that you guys can use that are easy. And then BombBomb, which, you know, you can go out and buy BombBomb if you want to. It's a couple $100 a year. It is another type of CRM. You guys get the what's happening emails from Nate every Friday. That's BombBomb. All right. Cool thing about BombBomb is we can stalk you and see if you've watched the videos. Did you open it? How long did you watch the videos? You are going to get, I believe it's 10 videos per month through KV Core. That's a part of your plan that are also there. It's integrated into BombBomb. Okay. But then also the teleprompter, there's the suggestion is that big VU. I don't know how much it costs, but that's the suggested teleprompter if you want to go that route. And then Vimeo is similar to YouTube. A lot of people who do big, you know, a lot of video will use Vimeo. But these gals that I know that are crushing it with YouTube, with the video leads, they're just going through YouTube, right? That's all they're doing is using YouTube. And one thing on YouTube, Luana had asked last week about liability. Like, what do we do if, you know, to keep ourselves out of hot water with video? And the main thing is obviously following all of the fair housing things we talked about. But if let's say you put a listing out, a video on a listing, when it closes, you either need to delete it, which is not I don't think that's the right choice, or change that it's closed, right? So have the address and say this property is closed so that it's obvious to the consumer if they're watching that property is no longer available. That's where when Shannon was talking about the commissioner, that's where some agents are going to get dinged, is the commissioner is going to go back and see that we're not updating those listings. And I get it, right? Life happens, we move on, we're busy, we just forget, right? But it needs to be a part of your closeout process if you're going to do videos for your listings. The reason you don't want to delete it is that you want sellers who are thinking about selling to see how you market your listings. And so that's why you don't want to delete it, but it does need to be obvious that the property is no longer available, okay? All right, so jumping into section 5, establishing your video system. Tracking. We talk a lot about tracking in momentum, right? Tracking is important. Just like if you wanted to go on a diet, you got to track your calories, you got to track your water, track your steps, all of that. Same thing here is we want to track and record our results. Stay in flow by being intentional with your content, and then note content shares. Okay, did you get likes? Did you get reactions? Did you get comments? Direct messages. Shares are good, right? When people share your stuff, Facebook really likes that. And another thing on YouTube, just as a side note, you don't need to push if you're going to do video on YouTube, you don't need to push it out to your social media. And in fact, sometimes it's actually makes your video on YouTube less, it impacts it negatively. YouTube has its own algorithm, it's got its own thing that it does, and it knows how to get the content in front of the right audience. And so by trying to, we think we're doing the right thing by trying to get more eyes on it from different platforms. And that's actually, don't do that, okay? So evaluate regularly and honestly. So honest, right? You know, we all can BS ourselves every day that we're busy. What are we really busy? Or are we working on fake stuff, right? Did we go down a rabbit hole of something that we could have was a $10 activity that could have been outsourced? So we want to then, you know, after we evaluate, do I need to make adjustments to the goal and the expectation? Consider your audience and what they might need, and then adjust the message accordingly. Continue improving, right? We got to continue to improve. And I promise you, your first videos are going to be uncomfortable and they might just be bad. But here's the thing, a bad video is better than no video. Right? Those who are doing it bad are still having results, and you'll get better. You will get better. And the more you practice, right? Preparation is key. You want to get over nerves, be prepared. So according to a Harvard study, individuals who have accountability partners or have a 33% increase in their productivity. So again, look around the Zoom here. Do you have an accountability partner? Do you have someone that will call you out, Scott, if you're stuck in the stinking thinking or working on fake work, right? You have somebody in your life who cares enough about you to have those hard conversations. Then they will be honest with you and help you create good habits, right? And then how often are you meeting? Set up a time. With the world of Zoom, we don't even have to meet in person anymore. You could have accountability right there, or just as simple as text messaging, right? I love the story about Pat Hyben and oh God, what is Osborne, David Osborne, Pat Hyben. Anyway, these guys were both realtors way back in the day, and they were in Cancun at an event. And the only reason I know the story is because Nate was there, and they told him to look around the room and pick somebody to be your accountability partner. And so they kind of did the man don from across the room, didn't know each other. And if you Google these guys, they're both wildly successful. They're millionaires, and they took accountability to a whole nother level. They really pushed each other to level up, right? And to have their best lives. And they both are wildly successful. So I would look them up. That's a great story about accountability. All right. Okay. So let's see, putting it all together. Let's jump in here, putting it all together, our final part here. So here are our beliefs, right? We come back to the core beliefs often throughout almost every momentum class, because beliefs are important. What we say to ourselves every day is important, right? Our words matter. And so starting your day with affirmations, I actually used to have my affirmations laminated and hanging in my shower. And that's how I started my day every day, was reading my affirmations. And so it's not a bad idea. I'm thinking about going back to that, right? So starting your day, filling your mind with the right thoughts, right? Having that successful mindset and believing that abundance is yours, right? And that there's enough for all of us, right? To live in a world of abundance. Same thing here with the buyer conversion, having those. And you guys, it's number one for a reason, right? One of my favorite affirmations is that I live in a world of abundance, because if I sit in open house and I get skunked, I have to change my attitude, right? So what do I say? I live in a world of abundance, right? One of the agents I coach, he has a financial goal, and every day he's just saying, 200K is on its way. 200K is on its way. And I love that, right? So, because that's just basically opening up and saying, I'm ready, let's do this, right? So again, our words matter, and how we treat ourselves, and what we believe about ourselves, and what we believe about our business, and the possibilities. There's a lot of stinking thinking out there right now with the market. I've got a lot of clients that I coach that had a really, really rough first quarter, and, the market changed and we weren't prepared for that. So, all right. So your tools. So your social media platforms, website, your video message, it needs to be properly branded, right? Again, going back to what the commissioner says, it needs to be clear and prominent. Anytime you guys use the word RE/MAX professionals, you need the disclosure that says each office is independently owned and operated. That's something that gets looked over a lot. If you're just using RE/MAX, that's fine. But I think the commissioner really wants you to say RE/MAX professionals, again, so that's clear and prominent of who your broker is. Okay, so make sure you're branding that. Great way to start a video out is, hey, this is Kim coming to you from RE/MAX professionals, right? And then you can end the video again with that same type of thing. And then you can also put it in the body of, if you're doing YouTube, put it in the body of the YouTube video as well. And what's cool about that is with YouTube, you can set templates on that. And then now you don't ever have to, once it's set, you don't have to mess with it, right? It's always, when you go to create a video, it's always the same. Have I mapped out my story and created my personal brand? Do you have your core values? Do you have your mission? Am I speaking to those things? Then do I know what my content, what's the most valuable and relevant to my ideal audience? Have I performed a self-assessment and determined where I might be avoiding video? Right? All of us have some limited thoughts around that. And then, am I ready to be intentional and proactive about incorporating video into my business? Am I practicing my scripts and understand the flow and the impression that I want to execute? Have I reviewed the core listing and buyer beliefs? Again, I would print those out and have them on your desk so that every day when you come in to go prospecting, you read those first, okay? Or before an open house or before a listing appointment, or Kim, you're going to meet this buyer that you feel is a little shaky, read those buyer beliefs before you go, right? That way, you're high vibing and she's going to feel that from you, right? That's half the battle, is them trusting us as if we feel good about what we're selling. Right. I've practiced an honest self-reflection and a self-awareness to determine my current skill sets in video messaging. I've identified my aspirations. So what's my goal with video? Obviously, I think most of us, it's lead gen, right? Getting more buyers and sellers. Understanding that video can be a powerful means of communication to support my brand. And I understand that video can be powerful means to supplement my dollar productive activities. We talked about that a little bit last week. How do I streamline the buyer process? So if I get a new buyer, they're under contract, can I use video to explain, like, this is what's going to happen in the home inspection. This is what's going to happen with closing. Same thing with the seller. Now that your home is listed, this is what you can expect next, right? So there's some things that you can take that activities management class and create some video around some of those vital activities. And then I understand that if I create a solid system and process, I can be successful. I hope y'all agree with that. All right, so coming back to, this is something you guys will see in another class too, this career AMS, so your activities management system. So define how many hours you want a week, right? What does this look like? Do you want to work? You don't want to work 60, 70 hours a week, right? We all want to have a life. So figure out how many hours. And the reality is if all of us put 3, 4, 5 solid hours of true work prospecting, you could probably take the rest of the day off. Right. But the problem is we get squirrel syndrome and we go down a rabbit hole and we get distracted by things, and we aren't actually working on things that are considered dollar productive activities. So then you want to define that in your day. So basically we're just creating what we call a perfect week, or what I like to call an intentional week. So our vital blocks of lead gen, lead conversion, client care, and personal development, putting those in, your big rocks basically. So if going to the gym or going to church, having date night, those are all things that are big blocks as well. But prospecting is a huge rock that needs to be in our calendar every day. We want to record that, stay engaged for the entire block, right? It's been scientifically proven that adults work best in 45-minute increments. And then if you get up and take a break where you walk around, watch a funny cat video, get a drink of water, it actually re-stimulates your energy levels. So it's been proven. Brendon Burchard wrote about that in his book, High Performance Habits. So it's been proven that if we engage for 45 minutes, take that 10-minute break, 10-15-minute break after, it does help with our energy levels. And then we want to go afterwards, you want to assess your progress, right? What went great? What could I change? And then I'm going to let it go. And if you need to play the song from Frozen, let it go, then do that as part of your ritual, right? Never end your prospecting session on somebody telling you that realtors suck. And the reason being is that that's going to stay with you. It's going to stay in your vibe. And so the next time you go to do prospecting, you're going to be like, realtors suck. I'm not going to do this. Right. So even if you end on leaving a message for someone, that's okay. Just don't end on a negative. Okay. So we want to assess, reflect, and then let it go. So time blocking videos. So content creation, where and when to post, when and how. Okay. So email, text, YouTube, Facebook, all those things. Time. I know it sounds really simple, but if it's not in our calendar, does it get done? Sometimes, but most times not. It's really easy to blow it off. And then I know some of us will have the reminder in our email from our calendar, we still blow it off. But the first step in doing it is to actually put the time in your calendar to say, I'm going to sit down for this 2-hour window and I'm going to create as much video content as I can in this time. Okay. Then follow up, make sure you put people into your CRM. If someone comments on your social media, you don't have to comment right away. You can like it, but then go back maybe an hour later and comment, and then wait a little bit and comment on some more. What happens when you do that is it refreshes the algorithm and it puts that content at the top of the news feeds. And so when you wait a minute, then come back, you always want to acknowledge the comments, but you don't have to do it right away. Spread it out so that constantly is refreshing that post on your Facebook or wherever it is. And then making sure you have a good CRM. And then continue your video messaging. If something doesn't land right on YouTube, change your thumbnail, change the title of it if you're not getting the results that you think you should be getting. Okay. Consistent, focused action equals successful habits. So above all else, set yourself up for success by setting realistic expectations, and then give yourself easy wins to start building on that foundation. Okay. Verl talked about this when we had him in town last month, is that, when we don't, it's hard to build to see something if we don't have an experience, right? It's hard to know that I can lean in on somebody else's experience and know that it can be mine. But until we have that experience, it's hard to then say, well, yeah, I can do this, right? So making sure you set yourself up for some easy wins so that you can go, all right, I can do this, right? I've had that experience. Now I know I can go further with it. All right, so here's your schedule. So just a really basic schedule. We talked about this on a couple slides before, what times to post. So you could come in here and plug in what's the content, the date and time I'm going to do this. So I would print this page out in your materials. Again, it's very basic, but we don't need to be complicated. And just plug in, where are you going to put this stuff? What is the video content I'm going to do? Okay. All right, so simple evaluation checklist. So tracking the action. So have I kept record of what actions I implemented or completed? Have I recorded the actual results, right? How many likes did I get? How many comments did I get? Did I get any leads from it? Okay, and then did I put those people into my CRM? Have I recorded, yeah, so that's already said that. Evaluate regularly and honestly, okay? Have I reviewed the goals and expectations? Am I performing honest reviews? And soliciting feedback from other people. You know, you got peers here that will give you feedback, you know, nice feedback. We're giving loving feedback of how we can improve, right? And then do I know what's valuable to my audience? Am I aware of what they need? And because we talked about that last week, like, where's the gap? Right? Kim has a great idea of working with the Gen X's, because Gen X's are kind of overlooked, right? We talk about boomers, we talk about millennials, but we're overlooking that audience. And so what do they need, Kim? What do we need as Gen Xers, right? And so figure out what that message is and go create the content. And then have I celebrated and reinforced the actions that have helped me achieve my desires? Celebrating even the smallest wins, you guys, again, builds that momentum and gets us excited and inspired to keep, inspired to keep going, not expired. And then continuing your improvement. So have I adjusted my aspirations and my goals around what I am finding during my evaluations? Have I identified the necessary training? There's all kinds of classes and things you can take on video, you know, but I don't want you to have that be an excuse to stop you from starting today, right? Because all of you guys can turn your phone on and record a video of some kind of content that is needed in the marketplace. And then, do I have a realistic plan of action towards my goals? All right, so again, another example here of just basic tracking that you have. What date was it published? What was my follow-up? Where did I post it? What was the content? And then tracking the likes, the repost, shares, et cetera, that you got from that. I don't know if this is something you set up in KV Core. Maybe you could set something up like this. I don't know, but otherwise you can certainly just print it out and have it in a notebook and just track it, right? It does not have to be overcomplicated. I suppose you could take this and turn it into a Google Doc too, so that it's not paper, you know, that you've got a Google Doc that exists. All right, you guys. With anything that we talk about in momentum or any classes, right, the goal of training is action. So, you know, it doesn't do you any good to come to this class and then not take action, right? So, you know, and again, look at everybody on the video and see who can you message and say, hey, will you be my accountability partner, right? So when you're in motion, you're planning and strategizing and learning. Those are all good things, but they don't produce results. Action, on the other hand, is the type of behavior that will deliver an outcome. You don't want to merely be planning, right? Getting stuck in analysis paralysis. You want to be practicing. And so moving into that action. All right. So let's have some comments, questions, some share. Who's ready to go do some video? Kristen sort of put her hand up. Kim, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm ready, I guess. I mean, I was actually going to do it last week. I think last week I'd mentioned that I wanted to add video to my 10-day online lead campaign, and I got hung up finding the script, so it never happened because I don't know what to say in an initial video, right? So
well, one video would be introducing yourself.
Yeah, there's that.
So
and then the other thing I was just thinking is I'll have to explore more, but you can add video to your blog in KV Core. So on your website, your videos would be there. So that's another way to get people from YouTube to your website and driving traffic. So there's that.
Mm-hmm. What else? So could you take some of those smart campaigns in KV Core that are text messages and you change that into video? And that's an idea, so you're not reinventing the wheel.
That would be the plan. Yes, that's a great idea.
Okay.
Instead of overthinking it, which is what I'm doing.
Anybody else got any ideas for her, for Kim?
Well, I know with mine, I just did one for Facebook. It was the walkthrough with the client that I just sold a couple of weeks ago. So I got there early and just showed the house a little bit, explaining that we're doing the walkthrough. And, you know, it was a horrible video, but I got started. So
Good.
that's, you know, I'll keep doing those things as I continue to get more clients and then eventually go to YouTube.
Nice. Okay,
Yeah.
good job. Good job. What was the results?
I think I had 27 at this point. I got like 27 likes on it. So
Oh, so it wasn't that bad.
no. And then I had another picture of the couple that bought, you know, congratulations, new homeowners. And I got like 38 on that one. So it
Good.
wasn't a video though. It was just a picture. So
Sure.
just
Good.
gradually
Awesome.
playing with it, trying to figure out how it works. I
Yeah.
did recently, if there's a gal by the name of Karin Carr, it's KARINCARR, and she runs a whole YouTube thing. You know, it's like super expensive, but I went through one of her video trainings. It was more of a engaging people to get them onto her $2,200 program. But it was interesting. I mean, they go from all of the, what do you call it, the banners with your name and make sure you got all the proper information on it. I mean, it's a great training program. She was a real estate agent and then she developed this whole thing, and she's probably making a lot more doing that than she was at real estate. So, but it was good. It was good information.
Yeah. Yeah, those are good things to tune into, right? All the freebie stuff that's out there. You can
Yeah.
always pick up a nugget from from somebody, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Cool.
Sarah,
Love that.
there's software in Mac Center, isn't there, that helps with the branding and stuff? Or am I thinking of something else?
Well, there's a place where you can go and get like slogans and things like that, and assets for like the balloon and different things like that. But I don't know of any other software. It's just a page on the website that has all of the, you know, what's basically our guidelines, right? And even the right color for the Remax colors. Like there's the codes for that in there and stuff too. Okay. Anybody else? No, you guys are all super quiet today. That's what I have for you today. That's a wrap on our video stuff. Hopefully all of you guys will start implementing it. And if you have any questions or you need anything, reach out. Thursday, we have that deed class. Have you guys signed up for it?
Yep.
Okay, good. Make sure to don't just do the Facebook page, but you actually use the link because you need to register so that they know how to do your certificates for your CE class. So that's going to be good. And then Alex next week is doing his KV Core again with the beginner and intermediate and advanced in person at Arrowhead North. So, and then if any of you haven't seen me and Nate do our 8 ways to dominate, we are doing that live streaming next Thursday as well, starting at 9 a.m. So got a busy week next week. I think next week we're talking about, what are we talking about now? I think we're doing prospecting next. So I think that's what's on the calendar next. So if you guys have any questions, you need anything, please reach out.
All right. Thanks.
You guys have a great day. Okay. We'll see you
Thank
on
you.
Thursday. You're welcome. Bye.